Good evening, this is Brastax. I'm Zaka Jacob. Congress leader in the Lok Sabha, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, made a rather distasteful remark against the new President Draupadi Murmu, calling her a Rashtrapatni instead of Rashtrapati. Now, Mr. Chaudhary says this was a slip of the tongue and that he's not well versed in Hindi. But Mr. Chaudhary seems to have a perennial foot-in-the-mouth disease. There have been numerous occasions in the past where he has said things only to regret them later. The BJP naturally made this into a big issue in Parliament today. And in the backdrop of this issue, it is being alleged that Sonia Gandhi, who tried to walk up to a senior BJP leader in the House to inquire what was going on, then reportedly told off Smriti Irani, who had launched a scathing attack on the Congress and on Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary for his comments. Now, net, the biggest loser in all of this is the Indian taxpayer, because Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, for the last 4 days has not functioned for even a single day this entire monsoon session. It looks highly unlikely that it will in the weeks ahead.
दो तीन बार राष्ट्रपति जी कहा मैंने, एक बार राष्ट्रपति निकल गई, चूक हुई.
Congress MP Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary on the back foot. He's been accused of demeaning President Murmu by referring to her as Rashtrapatni.
एक बार राष्ट्रपति निकल गई, चूक हुई. जब समय देंगे अब सबको बुला के सबको कहे कि मैं जाऊंगा. चोरी छुपी नहीं जाने वाला हूं मैं अधीर चौधरी.
He called it a slip of tongue, but the BJP sensed opportunity to train guns on the Congress. Women MPs from the BJP held placards against Chaudhary and protested on the Parliament premises.
I think it is not a slip of the tongue. It was a deliberate insult.
Other lies should not be recorded.
The Congress party, for demeaning the first tribal president of our country, needs to apologize in Parliament.
And demanded an apology from Congress President Sonia Gandhi herself. Sonia Gandhi responded to the BJP and said Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary had already apologized for his remark.
Ma'am, will you ask Adhir to apologize?
He has already apologized.
The Rashtrapatni row snowballed into a hostile exchange in Parliament. Sonia Gandhi reportedly rebuffed Union Minister Smriti Irani after walking across the House to speak to a BJP MP. She reportedly told BJP MP Rama Devi that Chaudhary had already apologized, so how is it her fault? That's when Smriti Irani reportedly interjected and said that she was the one who took her name. To which Sonia Gandhi retorted, "Don't talk to me." The Congress and other opposition parties have accused Smriti Irani and other BJP MPs of heckling the Congress president.
Sonia Gandhi went up to Rama Devi, who was sitting in the first bench on the ruling party. So she asked कि मुझसे तो माफी मांग रहे, क्या हुआ? तो इसी बीच में स्मृति ईरानी आके चिल्लाने लगा, ये माफी मांगनी पड़ेगा. तो सोनिया जी शांति से बोला कि I'm not talking to you.
With Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary's Rashtrapatni slur and the backlash that followed, has Congress dug itself into a bigger hole?
All right, on the talking point this evening, R.P. Singh, spokesperson of the BJP, is joining us. Dr. Shama Mohammed, spokesperson of the Congress Party. Kailash Adhikari is managing director of governance now. We'll be joined by Brinda Adige, women's rights activist, and of course, Saira Shah Halim also joining us on the broadcast. Dr. Shama Mohammed, let me start with you first. Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, he says it was a slip of the tongue that he referred to the First Lady, the first citizen of this country, as Rashtrapatni instead of Rashtrapati. But if indeed it was a slip of the tongue, he has insulted the highest office of this land. Should he not have forthwith, both inside Parliament and outside, and maybe even in person, to the President, apologize unequivocally? He has not done that.
Okay, now give me some time. First and foremost, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary had said this and he's come out and apologized. Now we know a Prime Minister who has said in his speeches, this is, a slip of the tongue. But on speeches, Congress ki vidwa, Jersey cow, 50 crore girlfriend. So please, has Mr. Narendra Modi ever apologized to anybody? Number one. Number two, I want to know from the Lok Sabha speaker today, why was Smriti Irani given 10 minutes of the time? It was not a time to talk. Opposition is never given time. Today, Smriti Irani is an insult, is a disgrace to womankind, because the way she has behaved today, by speaking, by calling out Mrs. Gandhi's name as if, without, this has never happened in the parliament. And this is to divert attention from
Shama,
her
isn't
corruption
it a legitimate question to ask that when a senior leader of your party has supposedly insulted a tribal president, the first ever tribal president, a woman, given that your party is headed by a woman, that she apologize? Isn't that a legitimate question to ask?
So that is what I'm saying. He has apologized. When did Narendra Modi, when he's insulted my president, my leader, and somebody who has been in politics for years, calling a Jersey cow Congress ki vidwa, has he ever apologized? And let me tell you, Smriti Irani basically is wanting to divert from the huge corruption allegations against her. I mean, it's not just bar, even the building where the restaurant was there, illegal. The bar was illegal. Everything is illegal. So she is worried right now because she has huge corruption allegation. Let's not forget Bhartika Singh's allegation.
Surely she did not go and tell Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary to say what he said, right? Shama, it can't be your point that she went and told Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary to say what he said about the President of India. No, I'm asking you a very simple question. The BJP today was protesting in both houses saying a very simple thing. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has said what he has said. Okay, give him the benefit of the doubt, it was a slip of the tongue. Will he apologize in Parliament? Given that your party is headed by a woman, will she apologize in Parliament? After all, don't you think this was an insult to women?
Okay, so will Mr. Modi apologize in Parliament for what all he has said? Will Ashwini Chaubey, the former Home Minister or Minister of State for Health, apologize for calling Rahul Gandhi Nale Ke Kira? I also want to ask these questions. Here, there is a slip of the tongue. He said, Narendra Modi says this in his speeches, and Smriti Irani wants to divert attention. Okay. And there is another lady called Nirmala Sitharaman, who I would call, there's a movie called Manichitra Tayathil, where Shobana becomes Nagavalli, and Nirmala Sitharaman is Nagavalli, who has been so sick for so long, could not deal with what she has done to the people of the poorest of the poor, where she's put 5% GST on all the pulses, dal, curd, paneer, everything, and suddenly the Nagavalli becomes active today.
So that's a different matter, the GST debate. You've been asking for a discussion on price rise. Anyway, I'll come to that. RP Singh, respond. This is a diversionary tactic. RP Singh, this is a diversionary tactic. You don't want to issue... one second, Shama, please. Shama, please, 1 second. RP Singh, these are diversionary tactics is the charge by the opposition, that you don't want to discuss pressing issues like price rise, GST, etc. That's why you have latched on to what they are saying is a slip of the tongue by Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary. RP Singh, only RP Singh, please. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. RP Singh.
Thank you, Zaka. I hope Shama Muhammad ji will not intervene in between. You gave her a free run and she said whatever she used to say. Now, let me just give you 2-3 points. President Draupadi Murmu is the president of the country. When you say something about the president of the country, it is different. When you say in a political slugfest, it's a different thing. Maut ka Saudagar is not very far. Khoon ki dalali is not far. But shall I tell you, Nali ke Kide, Chai Wale, what all there list of some 79 words which have been used against the Prime Minister of the country. As a Prime Minister of the country, here is the President of the country, not in a political rally. You are using that word, and Mr. Adhir Ranjan is telling lies again. That gentleman, that media guy told him that, no sir, you are speaking wrong. He said, and he brushed it off, and he said it twice. And if he was to apologize, he would have said, oh, galti ho gayi. Let me rectify it here itself. No, because the mindset of Congress is such that, a tribal woman, a woman from the tribal background, has been made the president of this country. That's the problem. That's why, wo Katpatli hai, all other words I don't want to use against her has been used by congressmen. Why so? Because उनको हजम नहीं हो रहा ये बात. They can't swallow this. That the there's a first woman president who comes from a tribal background. So, Shama Mohan, please, I never interrupt. And secondly, about Smriti Irani ji, you said something about Smriti Irani ji. There's already a case going in the court. So before you utter a word, ensure that there's a case going in the court. So don't just come and...
No, 1 second. Shama, please. Shama, you can't make these sweeping statements.
This is so
Let
bad.
the investigation find out. No, 1 second. I'm forced to pull down her fader.
Let me tell you why all this is happening. No. Let me tell you why this is happening. Let me tell you why this is happening. Because Marhani Sahaba ko dikkat hai. Marhani Sahaba ko problem hai. Because she is questioned on the ED. Because ED is asking question like a common person. Oh, the privileged class, the class which has been fed with a silver spoon, is been questioned for the first time. उनको कैसे पूछ सकते हैं मरानी और युवराज को? वो मरानी है, देश के युवराज हैं. उनके colleagues को पूछ सकते हैं.
No, I want to make this ambit a little wider. I want to make this ambit a little wider. RP Singh, let me bring in the others as well. Kailash Adhikari is joining us. Kailash, you know, the problem with Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is... Shama, sorry, your name is not Kailash Adhikari. Please respond when your name is called out for a question. Kailash Adhikari, the problem is Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary seems to have made a habit of getting his foot in the mouth. Earlier, he called the ED idiot. Again, he says it's a Bengali accent, therefore. He seems to be a bit of a repeat offender. In 2019, December, he called the PM and the HM as infiltrators. No, never mind that the Prime Minister has been elected to the highest office of the land. Again, earlier in 2019, he compared Mr. Modi to Gandhi Nali. If Mr. Chaudhary is saying this is a slip of the tongue, you know, he doesn't know, he's not well versed in Hindi, then either he should stick to Bengali or he should accept that he is a repeat offender, because it's not just one instance, it's not just this latest instance, he's got a pattern of this behavior.
Absolutely, Shakha. And you know, Mr. Chaudhary must realize that being a member of parliament, with some greater power comes greater responsibility. And when you're a member of parliament, there's a certain decorum that you should behave in. Just because you're in the opposition and you wish to, you know, target the primary party in power or the people who are involved in the primary party in power, that is not the language. And today the boundaries were crossed when you refer to the president of the land like this. The president of India, the president of the nation, is the first citizen, as we all know, the apex constitutional authority, and that too, a woman. In that respect, you know, referring to Rashtrapatni and looking at the fact, as you rightly pointed out, the history that Mr. Chaudhary goes in saying, you know, once it can be a slip of tongue, always it is not a slip of tongue. Exactly. It is a habitual offending habit. And I must say here also, you know, even though any political party is referring to, like now Madam Shama Mohammed referred to one lady, Nirmala Sitharaman, she's a finance minister of this country. She's a cabinet minister. Some degree of respect everyone commands, and when they are holding a certain office when they're holding certain office and they are elected by the people of this country. So we must all realize that there is a certain decorum, there is a certain line to be drawn. And every time you cannot, you know, bypass by saying that, oh, mere se bhool ho gayi. हर बार जब भूल होती है तो वो भूल नहीं होती है, वो जानबूझ के की गई गलती होती है.
Okay, I want to go to Brinda Adigia and to Saira Shah Halim. Saira Shah Halim, what happened subsequently after this comment by Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, and of course there was total hangama inside Parliament, it took a slightly wider turn where Sonia Gandhi reportedly then tried to reach out to a senior BJP leader, Rama Devi, who I believe was at the chair at that time. In between, Smriti Irani, as Sonia Gandhi was walking up to Rama Devi and trying to have a conversation with her, Smriti Irani intervened, to which the BJP claims, you heard Ms. Sitharaman talk about it, you heard Piyush Goyal talk about it, they say that Sonia Gandhi turned around and told Smriti Irani off by telling her, don't talk to me. Have things come to such a pass in Parliament, Saira Shah Halim, that two parliamentarians cannot have a civil conversation with each other?
You're right, Zaka. I mean, this comment was absolutely inappropriate. It is definitely not only casteist, it is class, class defined as well. But here he has apologized. So even if we give him the benefit of doubt, I think people in high offices or people who are ministers or political leaders need to be a little careful with their verbiage. Whether it's a slip of tongue, supposing I'm not fluent in a particular language, I need to speak in the language that I am completely comfortable with. Otherwise, I will not speak in that language at all. So I think this is something that one needs to be careful about, because repeatedly you can't keep making the same mistakes again and again. And at the same time, I think BJP does not have a moral high ground to talk about misogynistic comments or casteist comments, because they themselves in the past have made comments like 50 crore ki girlfriend on Mr. Shashi Tharoor's late wife. And also, there have been several comments on Sonia Gandhi as well. Congress ki vidwa, oh, she was a bar girl, oh, she was this, and oh, she was that. So this whole culture of demeaning women has to stop, irrespective of whichever political party you come from. I think it is appalling. It is highly disturbing when you put women, in such an uncomfortable position. And
what is particularly worrisome, and I want to ask Brinda Adige this. This has now become a she said between what Smriti Irani reportedly, her intervention, and what Sonia Gandhi reportedly told her. I don't want to get into that. What has happened as a net consequence of this is that Parliament has simply stopped doing the one job it has to do, which is to discuss and debate the pressing issues of the day. First, it was the opposition that wanted a discussion on price rise and GST. The government was waiting for the finance minister to come back. It did not happen for 3 days. Now, today, the BJP has, of course, latched onto this issue of what Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has said. Again, another day of Parliament has been wasted. Net, the loser, the biggest loser in this is the average taxpayer of India, who is paying 2.5 lakh rupees for every minute of Parliament to function, and it hasn't functioned all week.
You're absolutely right, Zaka. And the saddest part is that we can't hold these people accountable. We have elected these people to go there, and they do not even have that much of a ethical behavior sense to speak to each other with respect and with dignity. And we're talking of women, where women themselves are talking about other women or being disrespectful to other women in the parliament. And here we are talking about 50% reservations that we want for women. Like you mentioned, almost 20 lakhs per minute, per day that we are spending inside over there. When will the parliament have the guts to pass the law, right to recall? I think the mother of all democracies is ready for that law. It's this kind of behavior by elected representatives, by people who we believe to talk on our behalf, to make policies on our behalf, and to actually look after the people who've elected them into power. And if they go there behaving literally unruly people.
Okay, let me go back to Dr. Shama Mohammed. The point that RP Singh made, we don't know what exactly happened between Sonia Gandhi and Smriti Irani. But if this was reportedly said that Sonia Gandhi told Smriti Irani off by saying, "Do not talk to me," I want to ask a basic question. Is it a problem that two women parliamentarians have a conversation? I mean, or is it that, as RP Singh said, the Congress is suddenly getting rattled because this week Sonia Gandhi was questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. A few weeks ago, Rahul Gandhi was questioned by the Enforcement Directorate. It's almost like people who cannot be brought into the ambit of investigations have been done so over the last few weeks, and that's why the Congress party is so rattled.
I'm going to come to that. First, I want to tell Mr. Adhikari that Mrs. Nagavalli Sitaraman, she is not elected, she's nominated. Remember that. Now, let me go back to you. Mrs. Gandhi went up to a BJP member of parliament who she knew for years, Rama Devi, to speak to her. And then Smriti Irani came to heckle her with the rest of them. Heckling is something which has never happened in our parliament. When she heckled her, she told Smriti Irani that I'm speaking to Miss Rama Devi and not to you. And that's when Mrs. Irani said, you don't know who I am. I mean, this sort of arrogance, because this is one thing. Mainly the talk today, the drama which we saw of Smriti Irani is basically to divert the attention from the bar restaurant scandal, which is a
again, I
huge
keep coming back to the point. It's not like she told Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary to say what he said. So I'm not getting how the two are connected.
Let me finish. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, I have mentioned to you that he has apologized. That's one aspect. The other thing why Smriti Irani did this is to wake up, because she is the women and child minister. When Hathras, a girl was cremated, her parents did not see. Smriti Irani's big mouth was shut. Now, when her own MLA was raping a girl, her mouth was shut. When Katua, an 8-year-old girl, was raped for a week, her mouth was shut.
Shama, you're not answering the question that I'm asking. I'm asking a very simple question. No, one second. I'm asking you a very simple question. The woman who sits in the highest constitutional office of this land has been insulted. Okay? Is it too much to ask for an apology in Parliament? Both from the person who said it, and more importantly, because your party happens to be headed by a woman, is it that big a thing to ask that Sonia Gandhi apologize?
Why should Sonia Gandhi apologize here? Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, who has done it, has apologized. Now, when our president was called Nale ke Keeda and all, did Narendra Modi apologize? What all insults? Because Narendra Modi himself is the one who teaches them what to say, what to call. When did these things start? After 2014. I mean, here is a man who was said...
Mautka Saudagar was not said in 2014. It was said in 2007.
Girlfriend, Jersey cow...
Mautka Saudagar was said in before 2014.
I'm sorry.
Chaiwala was said before 2014. But anyway, you might think that everything has changed post 2014. But anyway, I want to go back to RP Singh. RP Singh, the point though. One second, Dr. Shama Mohammed, please. Again, I'm forced to pull down your fader because you just won't stop. So RP Singh, the point that is being raised is, for the last 4 days, leave today aside. Today, of course, what happened, it's out there for everyone to see. But for the last 4 days, why were you not agreeing to discussion on price rise GST? Yes, the finance minister may have been indisposed, she may have been ill, but surely there are other capable folks who can answer questions of the opposition. So the opposition's point is, first 3 days government did not want discussion, and the 4th day today they found an issue, and therefore they've used this issue to again adjourn Parliament.
Zaka, before I answer that, I don't know, ma'am was using some word Nagamali. I don't know what I have not seen that. Her name is Nirmala Sitharamanji. I don't know what word she was using. I need to know that first, because if she's using some offensive word, seems to be for finance minister of the country. Can I know that word? What was she referring to?
She was referring to a character in a movie. But can you go ahead and answer the question that I asked?
The bootlicker. Shama Muhammad is talking about some character in the movie. Oh, the bootlicker of Madam Maharani of the country. For them, she is a Maharani. Because she is talking about some character. Okay. But that point aside, Zaka, we said we will discuss. Let the finance minister come to the parliament. And today we would have discussed the issue. But what is the problem with Madam Sonia Gandhi apologizing on behalf of her party and on their leader to the president of the country? President is the highest post in the country. She is the chief of the armed forces. And then you are using such words, and intendingly I am saying so. It's not that slip of tongue. He's just trying to wish it away. I mean, fact is that he did it intendingly.
No, but the Congress is saying, RP Singh Saab, the Congress is saying, तो उन्होंने तो apologize कर दिया. और कितना apologize करेंगे? They are saying that he's already apologized.
वो किसके कहने पे, okay, now let me, वो किसके remote button पे कर रहे थे, उसका आंसर देना. किसके remote button पे कर रहे हैं? And then when the person said him, the media guy said, no, media guy told him there and then, sir, Rashtrapati को आपने Rashtrapatni कहा है, गलत कहा है. Even then he didn't apologize. It means it was intendingly done.
Okay.
And now he's saying, नहीं मैंने नहीं कहा, मैंने कहा तो कहा. I mean, that's the complete problem with the Congress.
You know, the issue that has happened in Parliament is, and I said this earlier as well, I'll get Kailash Adhikari to talk about this as well. 2.5 lakh rupees every minute is what it takes to run Parliament. So the last 5 days that have been wasted, we have lost close to 150 crores of taxpayer money because of the fact that in the last 4 or 5 days, the Parliament has not functioned, not for a single minute, not for any meaningful discussion or debate. So the question, I'm coming back to this again, why should taxpayers of India, Kailash Adhikari, fund this tamasha, fund this shadow boxing that's going on between treasury benches and opposition.
Absolutely, Zach. I know this is the saddest part of a democracy, where the people who are elected as member of parliament to the lower house of the parliament in this country, they don't realize, as I said, in the beginning itself, that with greater power comes greater responsibility. It is the responsibility of each and every member who is there in the parliament. Now, this includes both the houses, the lower house and the upper house, that the parliament must function. The parliament must function for good governance, for swift governance of this nation. Because at the end of the day, it is the good governance and the swift governance that will matter to the citizens of this country.
And final word, Saira Shah Halim. The tragedy again is India and Indian parliamentary democracy seems to be caught between, on the one hand, a government which believes in the power of its numbers, and an opposition that is so frustrated that they are not able to defeat the BJP in either national elections or state elections, that they seem to have an incentive to disrupt, to show placards, to not allow the House to function on one pretext or the other. And caught in between is the fact that we have a dysfunctional parliament, a parliament that has not discussed or debated a single meaningful bill in the last 5 days.
Because of the cacophony all around. That is why the taxpayers' money is getting wasted. So it's time to pull up their socks, and everybody really needs to run the country, because you can't keep, this cacophony alive over inane, things. And I think it's time that everybody respects women leaders, and they be careful about the verbiage they use, and also the terms when they talk about women, especially the women leaders.
Do you believe that Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary should apologize in Parliament on the floor of the House for what he said?
Please, let's...
One second. I didn't ask you the question. Shama, the question is not to you. He did not apologize in Parliament, did he?
So far, it's not really clear the air. So it will do him a lot of good if he apologizes on the floor of the House. Definitely.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. I want to thank all our guests. Let's see if this story continues to hold up any meaningful business in Parliament. An entire day got washed out today because of these comments. Yes, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary may have apologized outside Parliament, but when the House is in session and when this issue is holding up normal business from being transacted inside the House, it is only fitting in the scheme of things that he apologizes on the floor of the House, and maybe even in person, to our first ever tribal woman president. Meanwhile, let's shift focus to another big story. 5 days after he was arrested, and nearly 50 crore rupees in cash and 5 kilograms of gold were recovered from the homes of his close aide, Arpita Mukherjee. The Trinamool Congress has finally shown the door to Partho Chatterjee. He's been sacked as minister. He's also been removed from all party posts. The TMC says that this is proof that the party is showing zero tolerance for corruption. But the question is this action too little, too late?
Trinamool has taken. Trinamool is the only party in the country who has walked the talk.
That Mamata Banerjee is the kingpin of this scam. This money is that of hers. Partho Chatterjee was a mere front.
All right, on the talking point this evening, Priyanka Tibrewal is BJP West Bengal spokesperson and Saket Gokhale, TMC spokesperson. Saket Gokhale, it's been 5 days since Mr. Partho Chatterjee was arrested. His close aide was arrested, and twice over 2 days, first last week and then over the last couple of days, 50 crores in cash and 5 kilograms of gold jewelry were recovered by the Enforcement Directorate. Had Mr. Chatterjee's continuance, both as minister and a member of your party, become untenable after these pictures came out?
Look, it's very simple. As the Chief Minister said very clearly yesterday, and as Banerjee also very clearly said today, when it comes to corruption, it is onus, and when talking especially about such huge amounts, the onus is on the minister to go face the trial if he's innocent to prove himself and come back if he's guilty. So the bottom line at the end of this, the party has taken immediate action. The party has expelled him from all portfolios. The party has expelled him from all party positions. Now the onus lies on the ED to get to the bottom of this, to not lay this on the back burner, and to finish this probe as soon as possible, file a charge sheet, and take this to the court of law.
But Mr. Gokhale, isn't it a valid question to ask if Mr. Partho Chatterjee reportedly made all of this money, this 50 crores that's been recovered, and God knows how much else is left to be recovered, if he made all this money reportedly during his tenure as a minister and the minister of higher secondary education in Bengal, and we're all familiar with the SSC scam, isn't it a legitimate question to ask how come the chief minister and other senior functionaries in government had no clue about this?
See, look, first of all, the money was found, the money, everything that we're talking about has been found at the house of somebody called Arpita Mukherjee, who's not a member, has nothing to do with the Trinamool Congress. Now, if obviously this money has not been generated in the last 5 days that this money has been found. Now, whether it's linked to Partho Chatterjee is something for the ED to decide. But the point here is that this money has not come in the last 5 days. In 2016, Prime Minister Modi promised after demonetization, black money will be gone. So the question is, the ED has all the tools at its disposal, surveillance, investigation, everything. If the ED did not know about this since 5 days, how will the party know about it? This lady is not even a member of our party.
Okay. Priyanka Tibrewal, they've taken action against a senior leader of the TMC, that too within 5 days. How many folks have you taken action against after similar allegations have come forth? So the TMC is saying that they are above board in this case. They have, as soon as it was public knowledge, they have taken whatever appropriate action required to be taken against Partho Chatterjee.
No. They are wrong when they say so. Because, you see, they had no intentions to take any action against him. And this is only after the wiggling of the ED when they saw that the circumstances are now not in favor and so much of cash has been recovered and documents with the name of Partho Chatterjee have been recovered and they had no answer to this. So in order to save their face now, they are saying that we remove him from the post of the minister because they are left with no other option. I'll just point out one thing over here. If the intentions were so honest, I'll tell you that on the day when the ED was asking for the arrest of Partho Chatterjee, he ran to SSKM hospital, which is a government hospital. And then he got a certificate where it was stated that he is not fit and he needs admission in the hospital. Only that when when a certificate was issued from the AIMS, where it was proved that he is absolutely physically fit to face the investigation and the interrogation, that he was arrested.
No,
so
ma'am, the point that the TMC is making is in 5 days, once this became public knowledge, A, they've taken action. 2, they're saying this is Arpita Mukherjee's money or reportedly recovered from Arpita Mukherjee's residences. It's up to the ED to prove in a court of law what connection this money has to Partho Chatterjee. What they're asking is, similar allegations were raised against Himanta Biswa Sarma, against Suvendu Adhikari, against Mukul Roy, but suddenly when they joined your party, they're all clean.
Not at all. Not at all. And let me tell you, everything is not similar. Here, there has been a recovery of crores and crores of rupees. Okay? And I would like to ask that when they are asking a question in respect to Suvendu Adhikari, they are saying that he should be arrested. When Suvendu Adhikari was seen on the camera, allegedly, when he was seen taking that cash, at that point of time, he was in TMC, and then they said that he is innocent. Suddenly, when he changes party, now they want that he should be arrested. Then I would also question and say that the interrogation is in process, and along with Suvendu Adhikari, 8 to 10 other TMC ministers were seen taking. So whatever action has to be taken should be similar for them as well.
Saket
so
Gokhale, the point is these visuals are so vulgar. I mean, it's reviling every ordinary citizen, hard-working, tax-paying citizen in this country, because this money has been reportedly made on the back of the SSC scam for, poor people who had to pay off money to get, teacher recruitments done, recruitments done in other lower level posts in government schools across the state. I mean, isn't it repulsive that all of this money has been made on the back of poor people who are desperately looking for a job, for a government job.
No, can I remind you of something that the highest legal authority of the land, the Honorable Chief Justice of India, about 6 days ago while speaking at a symposium, he said that today what we have seen is that nobody cares about what the courts do. The media sits down, the media passes judgments, analyzes evidence based on sources, and passes a verdict. Here you're already passing a verdict before a charge sheet has even been filed. You're passing a verdict that money has been made on the back of poor people, all of these. I mean, then why do we have court of law at the end of the day?
How has this money then come to Arpita Mukherjee's house? She, as I understand, is a small-time actress. We don't know what her sources of revenue are. She reportedly has 5 flats across the city of Kolkata. So what is your best estimate for how and where she got this money from?
How did the money come to her is a job for the ED to investigate. All we are saying very simply is investigate this ASAP. If Partha Chatterjee is found guilty, if he's found linked, charge sheet him, make sure there's a fast track court, send him for life in prison if you have to. But on the other side, our only thing is that treat everybody with the same yardstick. No, I mean, the question is, Suvendu Adhikari is never summoned by the ED or anybody else. Himanta Biswa Sarma has never gotten a summons. You have MLAs in Maharashtra who had ED cases. Now they've allied with the BJP. There is no questioning anything happening, no raids happening. So the point is that the BJP is washing machine. And, the ED has to treat every case with any...
It isn't to you for a moment repulsive that these pictures, this money has been recovered from a close aide of one of the senior most members of your party, by the way. He was not just education minister, he was also general secretary. I'm given to understand for a long time, a secretary general of your party for a long time. It is not repulsive to you that this amount of money has been recovered from a close aide of a man who is a dyed-in-the-wool TMC man.
Will you let me answer the question?
No, I'm asking, yes, I'm asking, yeah.
And nobody questions longer than any response.
No, that's fine, that's okay, that's okay. We anchors are used to this, yeah.
That's okay, then fine.
No, go ahead, yeah. Give me an answer. No, I'll give you more than enough time to respond.
Thank you very much. So, is it repulsive, the amount of cash? Yes. It is repulsive and it has come to light because the ED raided the house. I can tell you there is at least 30 to 40 BJP ministers, MPs, senior leaders whose names are surfaced several times in corruption scams. But you don't see this amount of vulgar display of money because the houses are never raided. Second thing, you said Partha Chatterjee was very senior, very close to the leadership. Despite that, he has not only been divested of all his portfolios, he's been sacked from every post in the party. That shows at the end of the day, look, we did not protect him like the BJP is protecting Ajay Mr. Teni, What we have done is no matter how senior you are, if you're under a crowd of suspicion, you are out of the party until you prove your innocence. Will the BJP do that in case of their senior leaders?
Okay, Priyanka Tibrewal, the question that Saket Gokhale asked, how come there are no investigations against people who have joined your party? That's one. And secondly, my question, ma'am, is what about the record of the Enforcement Directorate? In the last 17 years that PMLA, the Prevention of Money Laundering Act, has existed, the Enforcement Directorate's conviction rate is only 23 out of the thousands of cases that they are investigating, which is a conviction rate of 0.5%.
I got your question, and I was about to speak on this only before your questions were put to me. Now, whatever he is saying, you see, always who's on the other side of the receiving end, they will question the credibility of the ED. They will do so, and they have their own mind, and they can do so. But whenever they have taken up these questions to the court of law, only 2 days back, the court has given them a befitting reply. A befitting reply was given to them. Now, when they are saying that the houses of others are not being raided, so let me tell you that this raid is not conducted through BJP. It has been conducted by an investigation of the Honorable... do not laugh too much. Hear me out. So this has been done by he's laughing at the judiciary. It's really a matter of shame. So this has been done by an order of the Honorable High Court, where the High Court had said they had constituted a committee. A committee was constituted and the committee handed over the matter to the CBI. CBI, after looking into the same, said that the ED needs to step in. And then, due to the court's order, the ED stepped in and this investigation was carried on. Hence, raids and seizures and attachments are being carried on due to the order of the Honorable High Court.
Okay.
If they have any doubt, they can move forward once again to the Supreme Court, but they will be, all these claims will be refuted and they'll get a befitting reply once again. Now to the question of your saying 23%.
Yeah.
No, sir, let me correct you out. It is from 2004 till 2012. 112 raids were made by the ED. Charge sheets which were filed were 114 and access attached were 5346. And then thereafter, when the NDA government stepped in, there has been an increase, and that increase is of 27%. 2014 till 21, 3,010 raids were carried on. Charge sheets filed 888. Assets attached 9,900 crores. So which proves that the BJP...
No, ma'am, how many convictions? Ma'am, how many convictions? Ma'am, how many convictions? Because at the end of the day, you're a lawyer, you know this better than me. The proof of the pudding is in the conviction. How many convictions?
Sir, that is what I am asking. That is what I am also saying.
How many raids on BJP people?
Let me complete. I did not speak when this gentleman was speaking.
Okay, answer the question I asked you, ma'am. Yeah.
BJP
One second, Saket, let her answer the question that I've asked. Yes, thank you.
Hear out. I can completely understand today the scenario is chor machai shor, but hear us out. So now, when you are questioning about the convictions, let me tell you that we have seen in the past, and since I'm a lawyer, I'll be able to explain it better, that there are certain procedures which are followed during investigation. There are certain stages and the trial proceeds accordingly. Whether it be this case of Jayalalitha or anything else, we have seen it took 16 to 17 years when the trial proceeded, and accordingly they were convicted, although after 17 years.
Okay. No.
So
the point is that the number that I cited is the number that was given by the Ministry of Finance in a written reply in the Rajya Sabha, that it was 23 convictions in under PMLA, which is a conviction rate of 0.5. Okay, I got to wrap up. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much, Priyanka Tibrewal, Saket Gokhale. We'll see how this story progresses, because like I said, everyone across the country has been riveted to those pictures, has been absolutely put off by just the staggering amount of cash that's been recovered. 50 crores across 2 raids. When the common man here is struggling, I think that is absolutely bone-chilling. It is unacceptable, and we hope that the ED gets to the bottom of this case. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back on the other side, the chilling moments just before a BJP Yuva Morcha worker, Praveen, was murdered in Dakshin Kannada. We'll have that CCTV footage for you right here on the other side when Brass Tax returns.